Hey, welcome to Mossy Oak Moments Live right here on Mossy Oak Go. Tune in every Monday for the absolute best in outdoor content available, and remember, it's always free. This week we're bringing you some of the best waterfowl content during our waterfowl season block. This one's all about the feathers. Then we're diving into the big game block with some unbelievable western hunts: elk, mule deer, antelope. Hey, it's all on the table.
Welcome to the Waterfowl season block right here on Mossy Oak Moments Live. We are bringing you some of the very best waterfowl content available anywhere. So I want you to gather around, get your family, sit down together on Monday evenings, and enjoy the Waterfowl season Mossy Oak Moments Live right here on Mossy Oak Go. To most people, a new year begins at midnight on January the 1st. But for folks like us, September the 1st is the beginning of a new year. It's the day for me each year that I pause and think, I made it. I have lived to see another hunting season. Great football games start with a kickoff, even the big ones like the national championship or the Super Bowl. And while most of the time everybody forgets the kicker and the kickoff once the game is underway, the excitement and the anticipation wrapped up in those moments just before kickoff, man, it's electric. It's real. And boy, it sure is great to be back in the game. September the 1st of 2018 is the first fall kickoff that Tripp has been able to look forward to. He has literally talked about it all summer long. Do you know how much fun it is as a dad to start a conversation about a dove hunt that turns into, Dad, do you think my waders still fit? And Dad, could we stay at duck camp every weekend of the entire season? Like a long-lost friend that went away for the summer months. It sure is good to wake up and say to September the 1st, welcome back, old friend. And while I realize that golf course geese and a limit of doves are not the trophies that most folks choose to line their man caves with, for me, they are a lot like a kickoff. They're the beginning of a 9-month grind that lasts well into the month of May. They give me something to look forward to. They help keep me going during the long, hot days of summer. And best of all, they give me something to talk to Tripp about. So however you decide to kick off your fall hunting season, let the games begin.
Looks good. You can't even tell where the blinds are.
Call that shot.
Jim.
Man, we might need to pick them up. We got 20 out there in the hole.
Yeah.
Check out this first episode from my buddies at Lost Break Island. You've probably heard it said that it's crazy what a man will do for a mallard duck. Well, these boys right here, they're proof. They got an island in the middle of the Mississippi River. Can't even drive your truck to it. Got to ride in with a boat. It's an awesome place. I've hunted there myself, and I think you'll really enjoy this series week to week. Check out Lost Break Island.
So my entire duck hunting career, I've been hunting pretty much 100% public land. Started out in Mississippi hunting public land and ventured over into Arkansas and kind of saw the daylight, so to speak, chasing mallards in the timber there, and fell in love with it. And we've been hunting it pretty much exclusively for the past 10 years. A couple years ago, some stuff started transpiring with the game and fish as far as limiting out-of-staters. We kind of saw the writing on the wall, and we'd been looking for a place to call our own. We went and looked at some private places in Arkansas and Mississippi, and stumbled up on this place up here on the river and bought it last year. It's about a 1,200 acre island. The southeast corner of it is a break, what we refer to a break in Mississippi. The gentleman that had it before us, he was a big deer hunter. So for the past 8 years, it really only got duck hunted when the river got up. So, you know, our vision was to try to make that a break that held water year in and year out. So that's where the Lost Break name comes from. It's just kind of, it's a break that's been there, but just kind of been lost as far as duck hunting is concerned.
Brooks took me on my first timber duck hunt. I was always a big duck hunter, but Brooks invited me years ago to go to the White River. From the time he landed the first group of mallards in the trees, I fell in love with the sport. After that, all I could think about was how to learn more about the sport. So hunting around Brooks and Murray and our group, it's been a lot of fun. One thing that we always wanted to have was our own place, not to fight the crowds of public land. And we looked and we looked and we looked for years. Me and Brooks came up here and looked at this place, and we walked through. I'll never forget it. Water was just getting on the island the day we were here in February. There's about 50 mallards got up out of a slough, and me and Brooks looked at each other and said, we gotta have it.
We had a long list of plans, you know, ideas, things we wanted to get done before this season, but in typical fashion, the Mississippi River stayed high all summer, late into the summer, so we couldn't get in and do some of the things we wanted to do. We would have liked to have planted some food. That wasn't, you know, possible. We wanted to build a camp, and we started doing that here a couple weeks ago, and we're hoping by, you know, Christmas this year we'll have a nice warm place to stay. When it finally did fall, we knew we had to get it in high gear because we had limited time to get it done, so it was all hands on deck. We were calling everybody we knew to come help. We were having to barge materials across. You don't realize how much material is in a house until you have to bring every piece over by boat. You know, so the island's about 1,200 acres. What is normally flooded is about 300 acres. So you got 300 acres of flooded willow trees, and they're not oak trees, but the ducks come in there just the same.
Kill all of them. Kill them all. Go and kill that third. They're coming in. Y'all get ready. Kill them.
Well, here on the island, I personally consider myself the land manager, but you know, Brooks and Harrison probably consider me just the help. and then that's fine. You know, I enjoy it. We worked all summer. Youth season's coming up next weekend, and all there is left to do now is just shoot some ducks.
There aren't many names in the waterfowl industry any bigger than Fred Zing. Fred's been a pioneer both as a duck and goose call maker, as well as a decoy manufacturer with Avian-x. This next one that we got for you is an episode of their television show, Avian-x TV.
After 3 days of cold weather, battling the ice, gassing up the ice heaters, and one of Brad's honey holes he calls the oxbow, we wanted to hunt it so bad, but it just wasn't going to happen. So we had to pack our stuff up and head south.
We don't hunt waterfowl because we have to.
We do it because we want to.
We do it because that's what we love to do. Traditions always outweigh the conditions.
It's in our blood with every heartbeat. It is inhaled with every breath and exhaled with every cadence of our call.
It's our duty as waterfowlers to pass that tradition on.
People said we couldn't make a living selling calls and decoys for cold, hard cash. But we faced the odds and took a chance. Now this business is our livelihood. Like a well-oiled machine, we have to work as a team.
Day in, day out, we rely on everyone around us to make sacrifices,
to make tough decisions, to strive for greatness. Sometimes tensions rise and tempers break.
but at the end of the day, we are one. We are Avian-x.
After 3 days of cold weather, battling the ice, gassing up the ice heaters, and one of Brad's honey holes he calls the oxbow, we wanted to hunt it so bad, but it just wasn't going to happen. So we had to pack our stuff up and head south.
Trouble. A lot more work again. It's probably 1.5 inches, 2 inches thick. We just can't get out of the ice. About 10,000 ducks feeding in this field right over here.
Put the A-frames in, that sun's gonna set here. I'll be able to shoot them right here, no problem. There be the Townsends. A good little tip when breaking ice is don't break it in a bunch of small little chunks. Break it in as big a sheets as you possibly can. Get 2 or 3 guys and get it started underneath that sheet ice that's out in front of the hole and push sheet after sheet in there. You won't have to mess with all those little chunks. Once you get that done, if you've got you a good yard rake, a big rake, plastic rake, rake all the chips of the ice down there and take the time to clean the hole. Those ducks come to that hole and there's a bunch of chunk ice floating there. It doesn't look natural and they just won't finish.
Paul is simultaneously smoked
Wadded him
up.
I shot at a drake.
We peeled him. Somebody smoked that long. And a widgeon. The one we shot earlier.
Dude, those are big old.
Yeah, they are. Big old drake.
I thought too.
Let's talk a little bit about selecting the duck call and what works the best on any given day. Now, there's a couple different calls on my lanyard that I'm going to show you, and there's a reason why they're on my lanyard. A loud acrylic call like this MBG is going to be very, very loud and good for windy days. Now, today's wind's blowing, we're on the open water. You need a duck call that's going to reach out there and get their attention. Very loud, very ducky sounding duck call. Okay. I particularly like the MBG, best out of our line. I also have one out on my lanyard made out of wood. When we make this in bird's eye, and this is green hedge or a hedge call. Now, the same design, it's going to be a little bit quieter. You get a non-wind day, maybe late in the season when the ducks are a little bit spooky, need to be a little softer, that call is going to work. Now, my soft call, pothole call, that I'm going to use when hunting maybe timber or a little willow, or maybe I'm hunting a spot and it's just hardly any wind, it's death calm. I'm gonna have a little soft call. This is an ATM double reed. This is when you know you're in the right spot. All you have to do is coax those old mallard ducks right into the decoys. Again, really soft. ATM, double reed, single reed, louder, more volume, curly. For more information on Zink calls, check us out online at zinkcalls.com.
Shoot that thing.
As a lifelong duck hunter, my very favorite is to see those mallard ducks in the sunshine, and this is a perfect case of sun at her back, warm day, mallards coming in and decoying right in front. It just doesn't get any better than this.
Last year we was in a major drought. It's hard to find little pockets of water. You can go Google Earth this one here just for a visual. Most of all this was completely just dirt. There was one little center pocket right out there in the middle that had water in it. That was about it. But this last spring and summer we got a whole bunch of rain in, filled up everything, made it really good out here.
This segment's been brought to you by Zinc Calls, a champion in every call, and Avian-x, fuel the madness.
Probably at one point in time or another, every hardcore waterfowl hunter has wanted to try their hand at the guide's life. This next program that we got for you is pretty cool. It's a behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to be a guide in the waterfowl industry, the guide's life. Check this out. It's from the guys at Blue Stem out in Oklahoma. I think you're really going to enjoy it.
It's about to get filthy.
Get your mice!
You ready?
Guiding waterfowl is hard. Being a guide isn't for the weak, the lazy, or the late riser. This job takes a commitment to the birds, to your clients, and to your fellow guides deeper than can be explained. This profession is a brotherhood, a tour of duty, if you will. If you like your coffee black, your hands calloused, and your nights short, this may be the gig for you. Welcome to the Blue Stem way of life.
You're jumping forward a little bit, Ethan. Yep.
This is the feed we're going to, bud. Yesterday I texted in the morning to the group text and said, man, I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little scared. I haven't seen nothing for new birds. And last night, I don't know what happened, but out of Enid, I mean, the whole sky was black there, birds going in every direction. And got fortunate enough to end up locking down a few feeds for the next few days. But today, yeah, we're hunting another load of feed. Probably anywhere from 15 to 20,000 darks, straight lessers and specks, a few snows in there. And tomorrow we got another good one, so we'll give her hell.
You're a sweetheart. Good morning, by the way. I made you coffee, you didn't even drink it. Oh, didn't drink it. Be so grumpy. You know where you're going?
No, I'm just going to drive roads till I see everybody's truck.
All right, we'll go get fuel.
Whole guide life is stupid. There's plenty of days where I'm like, screw this, I'm buddy hunting for the rest of my life. It's not everything it's cracked up to be. Yeah, you're gonna have a great job. You know, you're gonna have a lot of fun, but there's also gonna be times where you just wanna sleep all day. You're not excited about getting up, but you still have to get up. You know, you've got 10 guys at the lodge depending on you to take them to do what they paid to do.
Before I got into it, you know, I thought I knew what it was. Now that I'm in it, perspectives change on that matter. You don't realize how much other things tie into guiding and running a waterfowl business. If If you want to do this, you better love it. If you just want to go out and fun hunt and be able to hunt day in and day out, this is not the job for you.
For the first year, it was a hard transition from hunting with buddies and, you know, hunting for the enjoyment of yourselves to guiding and providing hunts for other people. It's a weird transition, it really is, because there's a whole nother side of it, side of hunting waterfowl from a job to just a passion, just a love. And finding that line to where whenever you're like, you know what, I don't want to go hunting in the morning, you gotta find that kickstart in there, and you gotta get up in the mornings, you gotta go, because people are counting on you.
I wish that I looked forward to doing it every day.
I think about it every day. Like, what the heck am I doing?
Don't expect it to be hunting. It's not hunting, it is going to work every day.
I have friends very close to me that don't even have the slightest idea about what goes on for 3 months during duck season. You don't have a social life during hunting season. Hunting is life.
The season's only 72 days. At 72 days, you basically give up the rest of your life for those 72 days. You do nothing but chase waterfowl for 72 days.
Kill him! That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
This past season, I think I've had 4 days out of the 72 where I didn't scout or didn't do anything waterfowl related. If you're gonna do this, be prepared to sacrifice everything.
It's not an easy life during these 3 months.
My name is Braden Davenport.
Michael Spain, Wes Brorson.
My name's Ethan Martin. I'm a co-owner here at Bluestem Waterfowl.
Tell me about Braden.
Braden's a killer. Without a doubt, he's good.
He's gonna do basically whatever it takes also to kill him.
Wes Brorson.
If you ever get the opportunity to go hunt with him, you'll have a blast.
He's the behind-the-scenes man. We couldn't do without Wes. I wouldn't trade him. No way. Ethan Martin, he's a big brother to me. If you ever put him on a task, he's always gonna get it done.
Ethan is one of the nicest people maybe alive, and he loves waterfowl hunting.
Tell me about Michael.
Boy, that's a tough one there.
Michael is Michael.
He's one salty dude.
Yeah, I would say by definition, Michael Spain's a waterfowl killer.
When you're guiding waterfowl hunts, it's typically best if you can do a good job killing waterfowl.
Kill him.
He's waiting for you. Dude, took off. Somebody asked me what I do for a living. I tell them I guide. The response I typically get is either, so you're like a tour guide for hunting? Like you take people, like they hunt, like you're a tour guide? From the people that don't know anything about it, and from the people that do know something about it, is, man, you're living the dream now. You get to hunt every day and you get paid for it.
When I tell people that, they just like, oh, he just takes a few people here and there and enjoys his time and gets to go on, you know, a lot of cool hunts. But that's not the case. The case is it's a grind day in and day out, you know, going on 3 to 4 hours of sleep. Half the time I don't even hunt.
We basically never stop working. From before sunrise, to setting the spread, to the hunt, to the post-hunt, take it down. You have time to eat something before you go on an afternoon scout or an afternoon hunt, and you're out till dark, and that's basically not optional.
If you want to provide people with quality waterfowl hunts, consistent bangers, then you got to fully commit. You got to give it everything, all day, every day. It's not hunting, it is going to work every day. Yeah, we've got an awesome job, but it's not everything it's cracked up to be.
It is a grind that never stops.
One thing that I'll never forget that Michael said is a good guide never has his hands in his pockets. We may get a nap once or twice a week, but you got an hour. There's always something to do, always something needs to be done. That blind over there needs a little bit of brushing, or that decoy needs tweaked, or there's always something that you can do to make the experience better and to make your job easier, really. You look at all their hands, it's beat to hell and scratched up and cracked up.
Calluses, cuts, blood from geese probably 3 weeks ago up underneath their fingernails. All of the above. Disgusting looking, rough.
I guess that's kind of the badge of a waterfowl guide. You got jacked up hands, your hands are stained with blood and mud and dry cracked and rough and kind of gross.
Has there ever been a time that you thought, I'm done with this, I'm gonna figure out something else to do?
Now there's never been a time whenever I thought I'm done with this. I'm gonna find something else to do. I've seen a bunch of birds die. Go on! But when I know it's gonna be good, I start getting giddy too. I wanna shoot them. The second the season ends, you're like, oh my goodness, thank God it's over. I need 2 weeks where I'm not doing anything, and next thing you know, 3 days later, you're like, I wanna go kill some geese.
I think a really great hunt is kind of what drives us all.
I can't really see myself doing anything else. It's in my blood now, and I feel like this is what I want to do day in and year out.
No, there's no way I could do anything else. I'm too far deep in this. I plan on doing this as long as my body will let me do it.
During waterfowl season, my main focus is killing birds, and I don't have much interest in anything outside of those things.
No, I can't see myself doing anything else. I really have no other skills.
Did you know that Mossy Oak is the official camouflage of conservation? For years now, Ducks Unlimited and Mossy Oak have shared the vision for conserving waterfowl habitat. This next piece that we got for you comes from Ducks Unlimited's collection in the DU Film series.
You know, living in the city, you got everything at arm's reach. To be able to get out here and get away is a great break. And to understand what it's like to be super remote is, it brings you back to reality. It's very humbling.
One of the things I love is taking people to do their first things. And so with Alaska and all of its beauty and just all of it's just so majestic, and bringing in guys that have never been to Alaska is just awesome to watch the look in their face. One of the things that makes Alaska so special is, first of all, just its vastness. And so to go in an area that is just absolutely massive and see, again, little dotted settlements and villages, but the rest of it's all pristine. And so as you go hiking the mountains, you really don't see the impact of man up there. And it's even amazing just how the winters here get pretty brutal. And so even the places where we've come in and sort of made a mark on the landscape, it's amazing how fast that Alaska reclaims that area. Out here in Kodiak Island, getting ready to go out. It's about 8:45, the sun is just coming up, but we are excited. So 3 of our party went out deer hunting, and we got 5 of us going out duck hunting, and we'll see how we do.
Everybody duck hunts a little different. This is sure different than the way we do it at home. Sunrise isn't until 9:30. We get dropped off with a few decoys and sit on a beach, and we get tucked in, and there's no calling. Just sit and wait, and these ducks come out of nowhere, and they fly fast, and they're on you before you can do anything. And so it's fun, it's a challenge. It's really something cool for guys that waterfowl hunt.
Back at home in Kansas, hunting is all about making your duck blinds, and really it's all about setting up everything to happen. And ultimately there's really nothing you can do to carve out sort of the opportunity for the game to happen. It's really going to the game and making it happen. So just a huge contrast from, like say, back at home in Kansas versus up here.
Hopefully in the next 10 or 15 years, I can bring my boys up. It would be nice for them to see it just like this. I hope that this is how it ends up being in the next 20, 30, 40 years. We are overpopulating a lot of areas, and to be able to get away and come to this. And I mean, I'd like to bring my whole family. I'd like to bring my kids, my wife up here. I think they would really get a kick out of it, and I think they'd be planning on bringing their kids too.
At home, everybody has their areas they like to hunt, and to try to keep it in its natural state is becoming increasingly more difficult. And it's important for us as hunters to be part of organizations like Ducks Unlimited. It's so important to the wildlife and us, to help preserve and conserve that for future generations.
I think as a kid, yeah, you hear about Alaska, but you don't really understand. I don't think you fully understand what it is. It's something that you don't think you're going to get to do. I mean, I never would have ever expected to get to go to Canada or Alaska or anywhere like that. And to be able to come to Alaska and Kodiak, for that matter, everybody needs to come. Everybody should get to come here once and really see the difference. I mean, this isn't Kansas. This is a whole nother deal, and everybody should get to see it. It makes you not want to go back to the city.
You know, deer hunters are all about showing off their trophies. They love to line their walls with the biggest rack, the biggest buck that they've ever killed. And waterfowl hunters, they're a little different. Not so much into the trophy aspect of it like deer hunters are. But there is one trophy in the waterfowl hunters that most guys really like to show off, and that's those little metal leg bands that they put on their lanyard. This next episode that we've got for you comes from our friends at Gamekeepers, and it's a really cool look into the story and the science behind the Jack Miner Banding Sanctuary.
My name is Joel Vermeulen. I'm the superintendent of grounds at Jack Miner Bird Sanctuary. I've worked here about 30 years, and I've seen a lot of neat things happen.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Gamekeepers of Mossy Oak, and in this episode we're going to talk about some rare jewelry that drives duck hunters crazy. Now, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about leg bands. In the early 1900s, there was this conservationist named Jack Miner. He didn't put like numbers on them like you see today. He put Bible verses on them, and then that would give that person the opportunity to share the gospel with them. Isn't that a crazy story?
He really was a visionary and a pioneer, and there's really no telling what we enjoy today because of him and what he spread from that. I do know that one of his bands is probably the most coveted thing in duck hunting, to actually have taken a duck with one of his bands on it.
That's one of the coolest things I've ever heard. I can't wait to see this.
And that's all I tell my kids. I said, an idea is just an idea until you take that first step and put it into action, and you're never gonna know what it's going to end up being. Well, let's take a look at this episode, because we're gonna check out a modern day banding facility in Arkansas, and then we've got some rare footage of Jack Miner and his conservation/missionary techniques. This is really cool. Watch this on Gamekeepers.
What does it really mean to be a gamekeeper? It means hunting has become much more than just a pursuit. It means you now yearn to give back more than you take. It means that you connect with the land and cherish wildlife while living the life you were intended. Hey, at Mossy Oak, we don't care much for titles, but there's one that we carry with pride. We are gamekeepers. The Gamekeepers of Mossy Oak is presented by Tractor Supply Company, for life out here.
Jack himself became Canada's father of conservation. He pioneered banding birds, and he banded everything from ducks and geese to smaller ducks. He banded some insectivorous birds as well as songbirds. Because of all of his information, the Migratory Bird Treaty was established in 1916. So he had a real stamp on conservation in Canada. Jack Miner arrived in Kingsville when he was 13 years old. So he and his brother Ted turned into market hunters. He took to heart that the Lord gave man dominion over all the birds of the sky, the fish of the oceans, and anything that creepeth upon the earth. He took that quite literally, and he thought that meant he was to shoot as much as he possibly could and hunt as often as he could. After some time and through a number of mishaps, he lost a couple of children, he lost his brother, he started to look at things a little differently. He suddenly realized that his job here on earth was really not to kill everything he could. It was to take care of. And what God meant was that man should have dominion, but that meant that he should take care of everything that walks or flies or swims. He had a change of heart, but he never stopped hunting. One day he got to thinking, he wondered where all these birds were going. Just on a lark, he put a metal band on the leg of a black duck. The following year, Dr. Bray in South Carolina wrote to him and said, "I shot your duck." Jack knew immediately where it had gone in terms of migration, and he started to band more ducks to see where they went. But he didn't start banding geese until 1915. It wasn't until after that that he started putting these Bible verses. One day he was sitting having a coffee at his pond. He said he heard God's radio speak to him, and God's radio said to put those Bible verses on the bands so that the birds would become his missionaries of the skies, and that's where the tradition of the band comes from.
The Gamekeepers of Mossy Oak is brought to you by Mossy Oak brand camo, Record Rack, Mossy Oak Properties, Boar Busters, Nature's Menu Dog Food, Heavy Shot, Gamekeeper Kennels, Biologic and Native Nurseries, Gamekeepers Magazine, Fieldwear, and the Gamekeepers Club.
These are blood quills, and that's where the shaft of the feathers are growing out from. So when they're like that, when you have that much of a shaft or a blood quill along here, primaries are too short, so it's not a flyer, and that's why we can catch them, like by rounding them up, since they can't fly yet.
102?
222, 17. The goose has been working on that band, trying to get it off, I think. It caught it on something. But we know this bird was down here last year, and then it flew back. Yellow bands were put on the goslings by the Canadian Wildlife Service. The idea is that as long as you move the goslings with the adults, their parents, not just move goslings, that they'll follow their parents. They're in family groups, so they'll follow their parents back home. If you just move goslings and they have no adults with them, wherever they fly from, they think that's home. The birds were relocated birds from another part in Ontario, some distance away. And so they're relocated to areas such as here where geese have been part of the landscape for hundreds of years. And when the geese can fly, they're basically free to go back home. Part of the idea is to stabilize the number of geese on the landscape. There has to be some kind of mortality on those birds one way or another. And in Ontario, the preference right here is is hunting. So they're basically treated as wild birds, which they are.
You ready for this? There you go. Every one of our bands has a serial number on it. We have the year on it. We keep track of the band numbers, the date they were banded, the sex of the bird. And what it does, it gives us the ability to track where the birds go to for their nesting grounds, for their wintering areas, and whether or not they return to the places they came from when they came to here. And it's through the help of hunters and local biologists as well as local birders calling in our numbers back to us in Canadian Wildlife Service to help us track the bird and the flock and where they go to and where they came from.
I banded a wood duck, I think it was in 2013. He's been caught 3 more times. He's usually down, he's been caught in South Carolina as well as Arkansas. I always hold my breath because, I banded him. So he seems to be able to make it down and back, and it's always nice to see him every year.
Well, it's an adult bird. It doesn't have that fluff on its head like there's some goslings in there. You can tell adult birds by the primary tips, these last 2, 3 primary tips, 7th, 8th, and 9th. They're rounded on adults, and if you look at the tail, it doesn't have, the immatures will have little notched tail feathers, depending on conditions of the tails right now. So there'll be a V notch on the immatures. It's definitely an adult male. So I got number 1168-97904.
And I got 102334, so we're starting off both 4s.
And the numbers somewhat coincide with each other, so we can document no matter which recovery we get from whichever band, we can know which number either jackmite or Canadian Wildlife Service band it is.
Hi everybody, I'm Tony Rossetti, and I'm going to give you a few tips on wing shooting today. One, you don't bring the gun to your shoulder. When you bring the gun to your shoulder, what happens is you tend to throw it up your shoulder and then throw your head down to the gun. What happens is when you do that, you cock your eyes. When you cock your eyes, you lose depth perception for that one split second when you need to make the shot. The proper technique would be bring the gun to your face, your shoulder just follows. So what happens is you don't have to move anything. You just bring it straight to your face, your eyes are level, you're looking right down the barrel, and you don't have a lot of movement with your head trying to make the shot. The other thing that I notice a lot of times with shooters is that they've got the gun in a lowered position down here. What happens here is when the bird comes close to you, now you have to bring the gun up, find the gun, find your target, and set your lead. Very difficult to do when you've got a bird flying at anywhere 25, 30 miles an hour. Dove in the wind, I'll tell you it's tough. But if you have it up, the gun already up in the mounted up forward position like this, you already know where your gun's at. You can see your barrel. You see the bird coming, and all you do is you're looking at the bird, you bring the barrel right to your face, boom. You want to lean forward into the gun all the time. Bring it to your face. You don't want to see people shooting like this. You're absorbing full recoil when you do that, and it hurts. Bring it to your face, nothing moves, everything works like a charm. All these will help you a lot when you get out in the field.
To join Gamekeepers, visit gamekeepersclub.com or pick up a magazine at Tractor Supply, Walmart, or Bass Pro Shop.
So really the three sort of primary objectives of what we're trying to do is one, learn more and have a better understanding of timing of migration and distribution on the landscape. The second one would be site fidelity. Are these birds returning to the same block of woods each year, to the same county, to the same WMA? And the third one really is to see if survival rates are different from birds that are banded on a breeding ground as juveniles versus birds that sort of survive that winter.
Not a lot of research has been done on winter site fidelity. We know they're faithful to a breeding area. The females are. If they're successful in one field, they'll go back to that same field or that same block of prairie and use that area again. So we want to see if there's kind of a similar phenomenon going on wintering grounds in the wintertime.
What do you think is going to be in each trap? What's your guess?
This morning we caught probably 70, 80 mallards out of this trap in the overflow and one pintail. It'll probably just be mallards. The pintail is kind of an oddity. Just being in the timber, you know, there's not as quite as often come in the timber. But since it's right next to this rest area, you know, there's definitely pintails on the rest area. And then down here in the eagle field, it'll be mostly mallards and a few wood ducks.
Okay.
We're definitely targeting mallards, and that's what most of our catch will be is mallards.
Okay.
We're banning any duck species we catch. We've caught a lot of wood ducks, teal, a few pintails, a couple gadwall, things like that. But our target species is mallards for sure. Hoping to get enough mallards banded on the landscape in Arkansas to be able to have a strong analysis looking at their band return rates and where they're harvested and things like that. We're catching them in what's known as swim-in traps. We bait these wire traps. They find their way into them trying to get the corn and they can't find their way out. we're getting started, you know, we'll put 50 to 100 pounds out with a camera just to try to get birds on the bait, get them in, you know, consistent in an area. Once they're used to coming into an area, we'll put the wire up, and once they're used to the wire, then we'll close it down, and when we close it down, they go in and they can't get out. It's a 3 or 4 day process before we actually start catching birds. We're always finding new places and trying to stay on the birds. You know, it's just like hunting the birds. The birds move areas and we try to stay on them. So it's kind of a little bit of a cat and mouse game, staying on the birds.
21, 37, 13, ...
So I think some important things on the conservation end is there's a lot of people that manage their property for waterfowl, for hunting, and they make sure that there's water on the property at the beginning of the year. But then when the hunting season comes to an end, they like to pull the plug. This is one of the most important times of the year for mallards. Like right now, they're pairing up, they're trying to get healthy and get back to the breeding ground to nest. And so if we're pulling plug out from underneath of these birds that need this habitat right now, that is probably not helping you to have your birds return next year. So the best thing is to do not to pull the water until after they leave.
The Gamekeepers of Mossy Oak is also brought to you by Furminator, Redneck Blinds, Heavy Shot, PSE Archery, Browning, Delta Ag, and Krispy Kreme, the official donut and coffee of the Gamekeepers of Mossy Oak. Closed captioning for Gamekeepers is provided by Gunner Kennels. Man's best friend deserves man's best kennel. Stay connected with Gamekeepers daily through Facebook and Instagram.
This is the 4th year into this waterfowl banding program. This is an important flyway. This is an important wintering area for mallards. Our goal is to sort of understand migration patterns by evaluating this band recovery data. We get good support from hunters. They call bands in and we can plot that information, look at timing. And so we're fortunate to be able to work here at White Oaks this year before birds are migrating back. They hold a lot of birds, and so it allows us to catch a good bit of birds in a short amount of time.
Most banding programs are during the summer, and you have adult birds versus juvenile birds, and it's right before the hunting season, and you have a lot of birds getting harvested. These are all the smart birds that have survived the hunting season. They've made it through a winter time, which is, you know, one of their tough times of the year. So we're gonna have to take that into account whenever we start analyzing our data. At this point in the year, none of our birds are juveniles. They're all considered adults. They're all after hatch years. It's a little different than a lot of banding programs that are going on in Canada and North Dakota and things like that.
They seem to be hitting these woods a lot harder in the early morning than they do in the afternoons. There's a lot of drakes, as you've seen, and so that's pretty typical of the population is drake heavy. These hens don't hang around long either. When they find their mate and they're ready to go, and they go. That's why we don't see too many hens.
One of the objectives of this project is to see if imprinting is a thing on the wintering grounds, and to see if that's something that's a real thing or not. You know, we don't know, and we're hoping to find that out with this project. It could be interesting to see, you know, when we see if these bands are harvested in the same general area or even on the same property. We'll be able to run some analyses and figure that out. Could be some really interesting work coming in the next year or two.
Every year, the hunting season starts, you open the guidebook. How many birds can I harvest this year? It could potentially change every year. All this information, all those regulations are set according to survival and harvest rates and this data that hunters provide.
There's no greater conservationist than hunters and wild game conservationists.
What would you say would be the easiest way for somebody to like step up their conservation game?
You know, the best money that you could spend with any organization is go buy a hunt license in your local state. Ducks Unlimited, National Wild Turkey Federation, QDMA for deer, and I'll tell you what, for conservation, you'd be surprised people don't know how big the NRA is for conservation too. You don't even have to be a hunter to be able to make a difference. Those organizations lead us today.
You know, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of jack miners and white oak duck woods out there. Here's a thought for you. If everybody that hunts took and introduced one person next year, we'd double our numbers just like that.
That's a crazy thought, you know, and you and I talk about that all the time. How do I get kids interested in the outdoors? That's one of the joys of my life. So thank you for watching Gamekeepers. We hope you are a gamekeeper. If you're not, we hope you become a gamekeeper. And we'll see you next time on Gamekeepers.
Hey, thanks for joining us tonight. I hope that you have enjoyed this Mossy Oak Moments live block about waterfowl season. I know I have, and I hope that next Monday night you'll put it on your calendar and gather your family around and enjoy some time together watching some of the best waterfowl content available anywhere online, right here for free on the Mossy Oak Go app.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying what you're seeing on the Mossy Oak Moments live block. Now it's time to transition over to one of my personal favorites, big game. Some of the best Western content from all over the country starts right now.
I've never shot anything close to this big. It's absolutely massive.
This place is unbelievable.
Hey everyone, my name is Cody Robbins and I am so proud to be your host of Mossy Oak's Big Game Block right here on Mossy Oak Moments Live. If you like giant elk, huge mule deer, and other animals with huge antlers, you're going to love this series. Let's get started with Heartland Bow Hunters Behind the Draw.
Yep, T-minus 2 days. Putting everything away, got it all clean. Getting ready to go to Utah. Doing?
Good. You guys going hunting?
We are going to Utah.
Got any room in there for me?
We got lots of room.
That's two.
Go chase them elk.
How long are you going for?
Oh, 5 days of a hunt.
I hope it's only 3.
I hope it's
guys
one.
Shoot 2 big ones. No, you got to spend a little time.
Oh, he's just filming. He doesn't get to hunt.
Oh, well. You guys have a good time.
Thanks, man.
Shoot
You have a
one
good
for
day.
me.
Okay,
Take care.
see you. After winning a Central Utah tag in a raffle at the Western Hunting Expo, I had no idea how fortunate I was to be drawn for this particular area. I had been preparing daily all summer long, and now I was finally on my way to find out if this would be my first successful elk hunt.
opening morning. Just getting daylight. We're gonna sit here a minute, just kind of wait and listen. Actually wait for the thermals to change a little bit. Ready? Here we go. Well, we just got back, our 2.5 mile jaunt back out. Drew back on one, probably had him at 40 yards. As soon as I ranged him, he moved. I ranged him again and he'd spotted us by then and he was out of there. But that's it for the first day. This morning wasn't very good, but tonight made up for it. So we rushed over here, got set up. He was up here. Just knew he was going to come down this way, so we set up right here. Came out right over here, just where we couldn't shoot. Right, couldn't get it on film. Stood over there a while. Took off back up the hill. Along for the ride. Just hang in there, buddy. You're a good luck charm.
Going into this hunt, I knew it was going to be a difficult archery hunt due to the fact that I was going to be hunting with a rifle tag. The first day, though, I felt very confident that we were going to get an opportunity. At the end of day 3, though, my confidence had faded quite a bit, knowing that there was only 2 days left to get it done. I knew I would never probably draw this tag again in a lifetime, so I made the decision to have the guide bring his rifle along just in case. Well, we're getting ready to head up the hill, going back after these elk we saw go up on the other side of the mountain. And got about a 2-mile hike back in. Hopefully we can spot them, and if we spot them in the bed, we're gonna get the long range out and dial it in. But I'm bringing the bow along just in case something else happens along the way. So hopefully we can get this thing done tonight.
Yep. She just went right, left. That bull's gonna come behind her.
I'm on them.
406,
He's done.
Oh, freaking! You don't, what'd we say? We don't leave fish to find fish. That is,
buddy.
Never done that before.
We're down.
Never done that
to the
before.
last minute, huh?
I've never done that before.
My new long range man.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. I never shot a long range rifle before, but I got an education today.
Oh my heck, man.
I was just thinking, we're going back to the house. We're gonna hunt one more day before I go home. It's like, man, crazy.
Hey, Congrats, brother. You know what? For as much work as we put in,
Lucky 7. That's the seventh time.
you know, he's a mature bull. He's screaming. I don't even know what he is.
I don't either.
Me.
We're gonna go find
Guess
out.
what? We're gonna find out. We'll get him processed up, and we'll try to get ourselves back around for some help, man.
My first love was a wicked twist of road.
Woo! You guys don't know how long I'm waiting for this. You just can't believe it. My, oh my. Look at that, daggers in there. I'm probably out of words right now, but they'll come to me here pretty quick. First thing is, 7th trip. I was hoping it was going to be lucky 7. I was hoping we were going to get done with the bow, but came down the last day, the last hour. After day before yesterday, we decided to pull out the gun because there's just too many gun hunters, and the elk were bugling, but man, they just wouldn't leave the herd. So we got Tyson's long range weapon out. It paid off, man. No, thanks to Tyson, thanks to Lynn, thanks to Wade, everybody, man. This thing came together, and I am just beside myself on this. I've waited a long time to put my hands on these.
Congratulations, buddy. You know what?
Awesome.
I couldn't have wished you, honestly, a better bull.
Scared to death, I thought I'd never see her face again. They said God was crying, so I guess he felt.
After 7 different elk hunts, I don't believe I've had as many encounters as this Utah hunt. I'm a firm believer that things happen in our life for a reason, and at times we don't always understand why. The man upstairs reveals the plan when it's time. In this hunt, walking out on the last day of the last hour is a testament to that. Sometimes things don't exactly happen the way you expect them to. You can see the shaft here. I don't know what kind of broadhead that is, but it's not real sharp, but it's expandable for sure.
You know, a fishing rod is a lot like a magic wand. It connects you to a world you can't see, but you know it's there. You can just feel it. Every time you cast, your hands remember the anticipation, knowing at any moment something spectacular could happen. So we keep casting and keep believing. Mossy Oak, made for moments like this.
The word obsession encompasses the mindset of everyone at Mossy Oak. We obsess over hiding from, chasing, and conserving the critters we pursue. In this episode, we follow Mossy Oak's Ben Mackey and Dustin Shed Whitaker as they travel to the mountains of New Mexico chasing elk. This is The Obsessed.
When you elk hunt, we've talked about it so many times. This isn't something you can just say, I'm going to just go elk hunting. And you know, you've got to be in shape. You see a lot of these people that, you know, run every day and are on the treadmill, and that's something that you got to do because you're walking up and down mountains. Out here, I think we ended up yesterday at about 9,500 feet. We put in about 12 miles, and part of it sucked really bad because I mean it kicked my butt. You know, some of the places you're going up and down sheer rock walls, straight up and down mountains. It's very physically demanding.
You know you're going to chase elk. You know you're going to be in country like this. It's steep. There ain't much air. You're going to have to walk. But then when it works out, you get so much back from it. So I think there's a balance there that you know it's going to hurt. You know it's going to take everything you got to make it work. But what you get back is 100 times more valuable.
We get to do a lot of archery hunts for elk, and you get, this hunt was a muzzleloader hunt, and you get, it's like, I can reach out and touch these guys at 200-300 yards with this muzzleloader. Completely changes the game. The first morning we're going in, and we kind of start down this creek, and it's not too bad a walk, and I'm like, hey, this won't be too bad. And then all of a sudden we go straight up the mountain. Actually, it was starting to get up into the morning a little bit, and temperature was rising, and I was getting down to the point in my mind where it's like, all right, we're not gonna pack out of here today. This afternoon, go back, eat lunch at the lodge, because it's a good 3-hour hike in there. So when you're in there for the day, it's like, let's find a nice shaded spot and take a nap for a couple hours. And we walked around the bend, and Clifford called one time, and boom, the elk answered. And I mean, I looked up across on the mountain, and he was running right down the mountain right to us.
About 45 minutes, an hour after daylight, we got probably a little over 2 miles back in, kind of crested this ridge. And there was a hillside on the opposite side. There was a bull bugling up high in the oak brush, and another one that was down low. And then we just took a hard right, went straight up the side of the hill. I about coughed my lungs out going up, but we got up there to, I guess we were probably 200 yards or so from the bull, and we bumped into some of his cows. They didn't see us, but we had to stop and watch for a minute. He came out, and he was a nice bull, mature bull, but he was real strong on the bottom, but he just kind of tapered out at top, didn't have a lot going on up there. So we looked at him for a while, but figured for the first morning, we'd probably let him go. After that, there was another bull bugling down below us. The bull below us, like, we got to go check him out and see. We were in some pretty thick oak brush. So we backed out and got into some timber where we could move a little bit quieter. We're working our way along, hit the cow call, didn't get an answer, so Joseph blew a bugle. He answered that, we knew he was pretty close. We got over just a little rise, and he was right there. Joseph, like, that's the bull, we gotta shoot that bull. From the moment that I saw him to the moment that I shot him, probably max 10 seconds, So it was almost like a shock to my system, like, whoa, that just happened. In one of the recent episodes of The Obsessed, we videoed Mark and Terry Drury and Matt and Taylor, and Mark said something in his interview that stuck with me. He said that you don't choose your obsession chooses you. I really like the way he said that. It's made me think about elk woods and why I, beat myself to death, and my knees are swollen and my ankle hurts and my legs are sore and I got blisters and I'm gonna sleep for 3 weeks when I get home. Why do I do that to myself? And I think what he said it sticks with me, because this place, this pursuit, this critter, the place that elk live, it's where I feel most at home. I love the smell of the mountains. I love the work that it takes to chase elk. I love looking at elk. I love the sound of them. I love walking up on them. I love carrying them out on my back. I can't imagine not getting out here every fall.
I didn't grow up in the West. I grew up in Ohio, and there was just always something in my mind, like, I'd love to be out there. I'd love to, to either be elk hunting or, we always, the thing when we were kids, we always like, we wanted to go bear hunting, but we always wanted to be just that Western atmosphere. And to me, it was just this something like, man, I would love to be out there and have that opportunity. And as I've gotten that opportunity, it's just continued to grow. And it's something that every year now it's like I've got to go elk hunting. I'm Dustin Whitaker, aka Shed, and I am obsessed.
I'm Ben Mackey, and I am obsessed.
Next on the list, I get to share an adventure with you. Now, everybody can relate to having a very best friend and a great hunting partner. When you partner that with a mule deer over 200 inches in full velvet, you're in for an opening day you'll never forget. Chatty spotted a buck this morning and waited for 2 hours for us to come. We were looking for other deer with Kelsey and Shane and I. And now Chatty and I are gonna sneak in. And the way it's set up, we're not gonna get a whole bunch of footage of this buck before he comes out and we get a shot because he's buried right in a little clump of willows. So we're just gonna have to get in position and wait for him to feed out. And then Chatty and I are gonna rise up at full draw and hopefully get a shot. Everybody know their role? It's all good? Okay, let's do it. We finally tuned our blueprints before going our separate ways. Shane and another good pal of ours, Jeremy Skelton, were headed out wide to get more camera angles on the stock, while Chatty and I went straight for him. Cody's coming straight at us. He's coming. Of all the directions this buck could have gone, this was definitely the worst. He was only 5 yards away browsing on rose bushes. There's no way we could get footage of anything but his antlers without spooking him, so we stayed as low as we could.
It could have been like 7 yards, 6 yards.
7 yards! Unbelievable!
Our wind was like right on. Like, I don't know how he didn't smell us.
You took your time and shot him good too, eh?
Oh yeah, like there's some brush and it kept like going back and forth. There's just a little bit there, so I was trying to wait till I could get a good spot there.
Jen! I can't believe he came right to us.
That was almost like, in my head, I'm thinking, geez, that's like the worst possible way he could come is right at us almost.
Oh, Jay!
Right on, buddy.
Did you get footage of him going by you?
I was sitting over in the corn,
And the deer come out of there, and I'm like, well, it's got to be right on top of these guys. Like, I hope they're not both sleeping still. And the deer comes running out of here, and he stops, and I'm like, well, how did we screw that up? Like, I just can't even believe it. And the deer looks around, trots by. He runs right by Jeremy, and I'm like, well, I'm going to have to give the boys a pep talk. We're going to get him tomorrow, no worries. Come over here, everyone's high-five, and I'm like, well, what's going on? Well, we got him. I'm like, all right.
All right.
Oh, what a beauty! What a beauty, Chad!
Look at all that mass. Nice.
What a beauty! Look!
Holy man.
First mule deer buck of the year, Chad. The first stock. 99 times out of 100, it happens like a nightmare, and you have to work so hard and you have to get so lucky for things to just fall into place. And one time out of 100, everything just rolls in your favor and you just have to sit back and enjoy it. And that was one of those times, Chad.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely unbelievable. This buck stood up after 2 hours of laying there and came right towards us, and Chad got a shot at 5 yards with his new Bowtech Insanity. It'd be a rush for any deer to walk up to you, let alone a giant, 7 or 8 year old nasty muley buck like this.
Especially the whole time we're watching him, we were so low and his antlers were in the skyline, just looking so gigantic.
This G2 here is absolutely massive, and it's got big waves and twists in it under the velvet. I spend the whole season hunting, and it's only a few days of that season that I get to spend with my very best friends.
Hunting by yourself, it's fun and it's okay, but when you have some of your best friends there with you, it makes you remember those moments way more. And
Chad, it really means a lot to me that we get to spend those few days together each year, and I want to congratulate you. That was a heck of a shot.
Yeah, thanks, Code.
Bull rush is all action. If you're not dreaming of screaming bulls in your face after this chapter, then I'd say there's something wrong. Let's get at it.
You don't get to choose your obsession. Your obsession chooses you. For many of us here at Mossy Oak, that means September in the high country, chasing elk. This is Bull Rush.
He's just on top of those ass. Wait.
Hey Tom, I couldn't help. That's a good bull.
Didn't even make it to the trees.
Turn that corner up there, he was laying in the middle of this meadow. It's just can't really explain it to anybody.
Yeah, just couldn't ask for more with archery stuff.
Last night we got handcuffed, but we were kind of behind the elk and couldn't get in there, so we got bulls bugling all around us. I guess start calling and see if we can get one to pull apart in the back and come up here. He's at the top of his horn. Here he comes. He's right there. Coming up.
right here. Come on. Huh? He's right there on this trail.
Look at him.
You got a rifle, man. Yep.
Wow.
Oh. Some big animals.
If you want to get to where
it's Monday, we can push it.
Tell us what to do. You'd like to go.
Let's just kind of work right up here. That cow and calf, where it gets kind of narrowed in there, dead lines. I just saw two just use
So like when that bow's sticking out on the left, we need to get to there.
Yeah.
Better hang with me. He'll say us. We don't have any choice. He's just right there. Let's get right here. Hurry up. I see. He's like 60 yards in that low meadow.
What a rush. I mean, there's really nothing like it in all the hunting. Nothing. Well, I appreciate it. What a memory. And we get to watch it again, too.
We were calling to that bull over there. Got one behind us, got fired up. He's made a lot of distance. He's right out in there. Right there. Right there. Right there. Right there. Smoked him fine.
You got to be kidding. Look at that. I promise you, you'll never got anybody that's more appreciative or grateful than I am. And
Thank you.
I appreciate it immensely.
Yeah.
How crazy has this last hour and a half been on the Mossy Oak Big Game block? And we have one more story for you, and we're finishing off with a bang. I hope you enjoy it.
Had a nice breakfast, beautiful camp here, antelope all over the place, and just gonna head to the range right now, get a little bit of work done there, make sure everything's good to go, and get out here and see what we can do this morning. Not eager for the hunt to be done too fast, but take what I can get, and seems to be plenty of animals around, so I don't think we're gonna have too much trouble finding some antelope at least, but getting one on the ground is always another story. All right, so I've put eyes on this bachelor group of bucks, and there's one in particular that I'd be really glad to get a shot on. And so we just kind of did a wide circle using the Yamaha just to get a look at the lay of the land. If we can get over there without getting busted, I think there's probably the best antelope of my life sitting right over there right now. So I'm pretty excited. You know, I've been chasing these animals for 10 years now, and every time I go out, I try to do a little bit better. I try to get closer. I try to shoot a bigger animal. I just try to be an all-around better hunter. And these pronghorn antelope, they push a guy to do that, and today was a perfect example. We were on antelope from the get-go, but they schooled us immediately. Right after that, they schooled us again, they schooled us again. They're just not easy animals to get close enough to shoot. And so you're gonna be running around out here and your work is gonna be cut out for you, but every second is worth it. Every bit of the excitement is worth it. We had an encounter earlier today that almost panned out, but I just wasn't comfortable taking the shot. But I was rewarded. 4 hours later, we spotted another herd out on this flat. They were bedded down, just used the terrain to my advantage, slipped in, poked a shot down from the top of a ridge, 160 yards. This guy went down. I shouldn't even say he went down. I shot him right in his bed. He never even knew what hit him, and what better way to put an ending on a great animal like this.
In 2004, I drew a moose tag, and I came out here scouting, and I ran into this guy, and he gave me a guy's name. Well, I got to talking to him, and the outfitter and him, they gave me an offer I couldn't turn down. They had never had a moose hunter, and they wanted one, and they wanted a picture of a moose for their brochure. So came out, did that guided hunt, and then the guy that guided me started his own outfitting business a couple years later and started working for him, and did that for 12 or 13 years. I just retired from guiding this fall, and I've been full-time with this taxidermy business since 2002. I lived in Minnesota. I would come out here from Minnesota in end of August, and I'd be here till the middle of November every fall, then I'd go back home. There wasn't a taxidermist in KC, and it is a small town, but there's quite a few outfitters around here. It's right off the interstate. I found this building that was for sale and thought it would work pretty good. I bought the lot next to me and I keep a horse there all wintertime. Not many towns you can keep a horse on Main Street, so I mean, I love Minnesota, don't get me wrong, but I like it out here way better.
This is actually the first big game animal of my season. I'm excited because we got fresh meat in the house, or soon will. It's really the start of kind of the meat trail, the annual meat trail for me. I've got 3 kids. We eat only wild game, and so I'm not only hunting, but I'm bringing groceries home. One of my favorite things is when we butcher, we put obviously the animal, we put the cut of the meat, but then we put where it's from. Whether it's a specific drainage around our place or a different state if I'm lucky enough to go out of state. So in some ways we're also, we're eating that place. To me, that's the great connection that wild game brings to us too. I'm psyched about this antelope. Beautiful meat, she died in her tracks, so the meat should be just beautiful. Antelope is the finest grain. You can even just see this just beautiful, finely grained meat. It's got kind of a sweetness to it, but it's just got a juice and a juiciness when you cook it right, that just maintains its flavor. It's beautiful, fine meat. Every time we have beef, I live in ranch country and neighbors have us over, we have their beef quite a bit, or have a steak in a restaurant. It just seems so heavy. This meat is so light, and it's so varied in terms of what you can do with it, that it'll be part of our diet when the grandkids come home.
I can't even begin to count the number of times I've come across folks who say that the front shoulders of wild game animals, especially antelope, are unusable, or that there's not enough meat on them, or that it's just all tendons, or this or that, and excuse after excuse. But I'm going to tell you right now that the front shoulders are damn good if you cook them right. And in this case, the way that I'm going to prepare it, you're going to see the reaction on everybody's faces when they eat it. It's going to be phenomenal. So first thing is cleaning up the meat, getting some of the bloodshot areas off, removing the hair, making sure you have a nice pile of meat and bone in front of you, and then you're going to salt and pepper it, and then we're going to head to the smoker. All right, so this is the second step in this process. You're going to take all that shoulder meat, you're going to toss it on the smoker, give it a good smoke ring. I'm running at 220 degrees for about an hour approximately. You don't need to cook the meat here because we're going to finish cooking the meat during the braising process in a Dutch oven. All right, these shoulders just came off the smoker. You can see that they've got a pretty nice smoke ring established around them, but the meat is still extremely rare. And that's exactly what you want here. You're replacing the searing that you would normally do like in a cast iron skillet. You're replacing that with the smoking process to get that outer crust on there that's going to have that smoky flavor. So once you're done with the smoking process, you bring them into the Dutch ovens. In this case, I'm using bacon grease from some leftover bacon we had for breakfast this morning. I'm going to add the pieces of meat right to these Dutch ovens. And in this case, with an antelope, with this size of Dutch oven, one shoulder fits really well in one Dutch oven. So we're going to have 2 of these bad boys rolling. We're going to have them on low heat. Once you got the meat in there, you're going to want to situate it so that everything fits in there nicely. And then you're going to want to come over and grab the core ingredients that really make this recipe shine. I've got stewed tomatoes, balsamic vinegar, crushed red pepper, Worcestershire sauce, and fresh minced garlic. It's that simple. All I'm going to do, dump everything right over that beautiful shoulder meat. Do about 1.5 cans, including the juices, of these stewed tomatoes. These are 28-ounce cans, but what you're going to want to do is make sure the meat is approximately 3/4 submerged in whatever type of liquid and seasoning that you're going to be using for the braising process, because that meat is going to stay super moist with all that juicy stuff you're adding in there. All right, so I've got the stewed tomatoes in. Now I'll just sort of eye up the Worcestershire sauce and the balsamic vinegar. You don't need too much. This is some potent stuff. And as this is cooking in here with the lid on, all the flavors of these ingredients are going to work their way into the meat. Next, I'm going to come in with the balsamic vinegar. Again, this is some potent stuff, so you don't need a tremendous amount. Just kind of eye it up, be sensible about it. I'm going to go with some crushed red pepper here, depending on how spicy you want it. And last but not least, split this nice pile of minced garlic that I have among both of these. And there you have it. Going to let this slow cook with the lid on for approximately 3 hours. You're going to want to run it somewhere around 300 degrees. Sometimes the temperature can be difficult to monitor if you're cooking it on a camp stove like this. The best way to do it is in an oven. We are going to improvise here with these Dutch ovens. I'm just going to keep an eye on it, and I'm going to keep the burners on low. And that'll get us just about where we need to be to cook this for 3 hours. And when it's done, the meat's going to be falling off the bone, and everybody in this camp is going to be coming over here with their spoons trying to clean out these Dutch ovens when it's all over with, because they're going to fall in love with these antelope shoulders. You know, this has been just another one of those adventures that I continue to look forward to year after year. I hunted this ranch a couple of years ago, and you know, the whole western United States is really special to me for big game hunting and just hunting all around, but this place holds a special spot in my heart just because it's such a beautiful ranch and it's managed so well. The guy who runs this operation, Jim Schurmeister, has been actively managing his wildlife populations here. So a couple years ago there were only 20 mule deer. Now there's a dang near thriving population of 40 to 60 animals. He does all sorts of programs for the wildlife to get them through the winter, and he puts in water structures, and he does all these things that a conscientious, conservation-minded private landowner does to contribute to the wildlife. And these animals are out here running free, so they're not just sitting here on his private property all the time. They're coming and going from private to public, so essentially everybody benefits from efforts like this with the type of stuff that Jim is doing here as a private landowner. And the hunt was great. I came back and it was just like I remembered it, but probably even a little bit better. And I'm already thinking about my next trip out here to hunt the Schurmeister Ranch here in Casey, Wyoming.
Thanks for watching the Big Game Block. Tune in next week to catch more Mossy Oak Moments live. I'm Cody Robbins. Good luck out there, and be safe.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed this week's Mossy Oak Moments Live right here on Mossy Oak Go. Be sure to tune in every Monday night throughout the fall for the best outdoor content available. And remember, it's always free. See you next week.